What's going on, everyone? Hope you're all doing really well, and let's jump right into another day trading recap here. So, it is a Monday, fresh start to the week, and as you guys can see from the thumbnail, I am very blessed because I did manage to end green on the day today. Nothing significant at all, but I was up, as you can see, $49.29 on TQs, and I was down $2.03 on SQs. And here are all my filled orders for the day, 46 of them. And here are all the areas you could see where I bought and I sold, right? And with all the exact price points here and there, so you guys could check that out if you would like. But since there's so many of them, I do just want to get to kind of the important ones. I want to basically go over how the Nasdaq played out on a day. Just looking at this chart, and on top of that, I also want to share with you guys basically why do I think I was able to end green on a day. What did I do better that I haven't been doing before, where I would usually be ending red, especially on Mondays. Mondays, I'd say, are usually red days, but yeah, basically to sum it all up, I just want to get started into the recap for you guys on Nasdaq. And right around here at 6:30 in the morning was when the market opened up, and as you guys can see, like I've told you guys before, anytime the market opens up, it usually tends to be followed with some volatility, and on top of that, with some quick changes of direction. So as you guys can see, right when the market opened up, NQ started falling aggressively, right? Big red bars, found a nice support, immediately followed right by a big green bar. Those red bars were followed by a nice green bar, and then just vice versa, kept switching off, right? Followed by a big red bar, and then followed by a big green bar again. So kept just getting rejected and trying to push up multiple times. That's why I personally did not take a trade right when the market opens up, right? I want to give it a few minutes or something like that to really kind of identify itself. And while I did take a trade like 5 minutes after the market opened up, my first trades were losses. I did end up stopping out, and I did try taking trades on SQs. But as you guys can see though, I would try taking a play on SQs after I thought the market, already had a few minutes to identify a direction. I tried taking a play on SQs only to get obliterated, and it just shot up really big. So after I took one or two quick red trades, basically just getting stopped out with this quick change of direction, I decided to just cool off a bit, and just basically I only want to start trading again until A, the opportunity was worth it, and B, the direction was actually starting to identify itself. Because trying to trade into a bunch of different, you know, uh, basically quick changes of direction like this is very, very hard to do. Like, it's just unsettling, right? It's just very nerve wracking if you're buying and let's say you average up only to get hit by this big red flush. So definitely did not want to take part in that. And after I saw that the Nasdaq didn't want to start selling off towards the bottom VWAP, it's only then that I decided that maybe I'm gonna start looking for a play on TQs, which was how I made the majority of my money today, right? Most of it today was on TQs, meaning I was betting on the Nasdaq going up. So after the Nasdaq started to fall aggressively and it even passed below this support area, it kind of tried forming. Once it passed below this level, it was a good indication that it was going to continuously start to kind of downtrend in the minutes following after that, right? Because it did just break this like critical support area here it was trying to bounce off of, right? So once it broke it, it made sense how it could continue to just basically continue to sell off, right? And what I did today was I didn't want to get into SQs as it kept selling off right around here, because by then it's too close to the bottom VWAP, right? For me to think that the trade is actually going to be worth it. So what I want to do is just paying attention to previous patterns. Anytime the Nasdaq has kind of fallen close to this general area near the bottom VWAP right around here, it has tended to follow with a nice little support, right? It has tended to follow with a nice little change of direction. And when the Nasdaq was continuously selling off aggressively towards the bottom VWAP, once again, like I just said, I viewed it to be more on the oversold side than Nasdaq, and I was looking for a potential play on TQQQ for a recovery on the Nasdaq, right? For a change of direction going back up. So right around these levels, like I just said, I didn't want to take part in SQs because it had already basically downtrended a significant amount, right? These were pretty big, solid moves for SQs. So I decided to take some positions on TQs. And today, how I made my money basically was I never really got to average up. I would buy in, let's say down here, it would start going my way, and it would have these big green candles, as you guys can see, these nice big pushes. And anytime it had a nice pop like that, I would just cut my shares because in my experience trading, anytime there is a big move up or down, it can be followed with another play in the opposite direction. Because let's say something shoots up aggressively, like a big move like this, a green candle, I would want to sell instantly because a big move like that, in my opinion, would basically always encourage a lot of people to want to sell, right? Because who wouldn't want to lock in profits after the stock has just jumped a significant amount, right? So I do lock it in, and locking it in wasn't the worst, obviously, because I'm locking in profits. I'm not losing anything. But as you guys can see, the Nasdaq did start to uptrend with this big green candle is basically what made me think that it could really start reversing, right? Because it did try approaching the bottom view out before and going, but it's not until it really had a huge green candle and broke above this blue EMA line right here that it started to use it now as a support for higher highs and higher lows. If you guys pay attention, as it started falling the Nasdaq, it started using this blue line as a resistance. So anytime it would come near it, it would just keep selling off, and it's only until it actually was able to break above it again pretty significantly that it started to use the line now as a support. And anytime it would approach it, as you guys can see, it made a higher low, pushed up, fell back down, higher low. Though the low it had here was higher than the one it previously had here, and it would keep going. And in my opinion, a very significant area for NQ was right around this area, because even though it did have a nice push to this middle VWAP here, the Nasdaq has tended to start falling anytime it's approached it, right? It came above it right around here, ended up selling off. Came above it a bit, sold off. And this was to me going to be the true test, the critical area, whether the Nasdaq was going to basically follow this pattern. I was looking out for it, and it did push above it a little bit like it did the other times, and it did start to fall. And it was right around here where it was able to hold above this middle VWAP. It just fell briefly below it, but it did hold for a nice support, and it started rallying for a higher low. It's basically this area I think that was very critical in deciding whether it was going to trend up or down, because let's say it started falling and kept falling, it would have just followed this same previous pattern, right? For a play for SQs. But it's not because it bounced off of this line actually and kept going higher that it broke this previous pattern of the downtrending pattern, and it was able to basically now start uptrending on the day, and it used these lines kind of more as another support versus a resistance right around here, right? Because here, anytime I push near it, it would be a resistance and tend to get rejected. But now that it's pushed up above it so much, this middle VWAP, it now uses it as a support. So anytime it approaches it now, it will bounce off it to go higher for higher highs and higher lows. So I just wanted you guys to watch out for that pattern. That's basically something I saw, this really critical area right here that wanted to tell me whether it was going to keep falling or going up. And yeah, very important to pay attention to things like that and just tell yourself always which way is direction headed, right? If we saw that the Nasdaq was selling off but did bounce here and keep going, obviously it's headed up because it keeps using this blue EMA line as a support to bounce off of. And the other way around, let's say direction is obviously downtrending, you wouldn't want to be in TQs then, because direction is still downtrending. Even here, it could have continued a downtrend. It's not until it finally broke this pattern like I just showed you guys and started trending above this blue line now, the EMA line, where it did start to change direction. So just just keep those two things in mind, and just really make sure to, yeah, just make sure you're trading with direction on a day. Very hard to trade against direction and try and predict these bottoms. Just make sure you're looking out for potential signs that could tell you whether the Nasdaq may want to finally start pushing up again, or whether it is consistently just selling off but might be having a little pullback or something like that. So yeah, so that's just it, guys. I apologize for the late recap. It's the only time I I could have filmed it today, but thank you guys all so much. It really means a lot to me that you guys keep on tuning back in, and I'm just very excited for the rest of the week. Thank you guys all so much, and take care.